Hello, and welcome to the learning series, Creating Infographics to Advocate for Needs, Services, and Care, brought to you by Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital. As parents of children with special needs or disability, you know what it means to have to speak up for your child's rights and make sure that their needs are met. Infographics can help you advocate for those needs and make it easier to explain what it is you or your child need. They can also help you present your child's strengths and personality and remind people who your child is. This learning series has been created to share the role infographics can have as a communication tool to advocate for needs, services, and care, and share tips and tools on how to create your own infographic. There are 3 modules in this series. Module 1 is about understanding infographics and how they can be used. Module 2 looks at how to write main messages for your infographic. And Module 3 is all about designing your infographic. It lists free programs and templates you can use. It also gives examples of resources to learn more about design. Let's begin Module 2, from the Creating Infographics to Advocate for Needs, Services, and Care learning series. This module is on writing main messages. In this module, we will define what main messages are, explain the steps to writing main messages, and show you how to use a worksheet to create your own main messages. In Module 1, Susan Cosgrove, a family leader at Holland Bloorview, spoke about her experience of sharing information about her children. She explained that sharing personal histories can be emotionally taxing for caregivers and result in information being missed or not sharing the right information with the right people when advocating for services or supports. Next up is a video from Susan introducing you to why main messages are important.
The other aspect of it that was really, really important to me, and I think is important for a lot of parents, is that these events that we go to, like doctor's appointments and placement visits and school appointments and teacher things, they can be very, very stressful and can go in a very unexpected way. So when it does get stressful and it does become emotional, having a visual guide and something on paper and our concise thoughts there on the paper is as effective as I think we could possibly be.
Let's go into more detail about what main messages are. Main messages are the written part of your infographic. Main messages are all about causing action or starting change. They are the most important pieces of information that you want the reader to understand and act on. Main messages have requirements. Main messages are focused. They focus on what the reader needs to know. They use less words to share ideas. Main messages are easy to understand. They should use words that the reader is familiar with. Main messages should also be action-oriented. What you write should give the reader direction, ideas, or instructions for what needs to happen. Now let's see what this looks like on a page. Here is an infographic with main messages. The main messages are focused. They focus on what the reader needs to know, the information that is most relevant. The main messages are easy to understand. There is also only one idea per sentence. There are action-oriented main messages too. Here we can see that there are concrete tips to help with learning. These tips are actionable because they tell the reader exactly what they can do. Main messages are a key part of an infographic, but they can also be used to communicate in other ways. You can have main messages on posters, slides, or on social media. You might be asking yourself, how do I get started? This module is based on the worksheet you see on the right side of the screen. Once you download the worksheet, you will see that it is a fillable Word document where you can type your ideas right onto the page. You can also print out the worksheet and use a pencil or pen to fill it out if you like. This worksheet is broken up into 4 major steps. These steps are picking your goal, thinking of your audience, adding groups of information, and then editing your work. Let's work through each of these steps one by one. Pick your goal. The first step to writing your main messages is to set a goal. Take some time and ask yourself, what do I want to happen by sharing this infographic? Or what do I want to be different? Some ideas for goals are to create a shared understanding of your child and family. Address a challenge such as a safety concern. Take part in a community recreation program. Ask for specific supports or services in the community. Inform an individual education plan or IEP at school. Inform a school meeting. Setting a goal is one of the most important parts of main message writing. It will help you think about what information is most important to share. Write it down and make sure your goal is written in a positive way. Write your goal as what you want instead of what you do not want. For example, instead of writing, "My child isn't doing their best at school because they don't have an IEP," you can write, "My goal is to create an IEP with the teacher that considers my child's needs and builds on their strengths so they can thrive in the classroom." You also need to pick your audience. These are the people or person who need to read your messages because they will be the ones acting on your messages with you. Ask yourself, who needs to hear my main messages to reach my goal? For some people, thinking of the audience first and then setting the goal helps. Choose what works best for you. Examples of audiences are teachers, therapists, such as occupational therapists or speech-language therapists, nurses, and community program leaders, such as sports coaches or camp counselors. After you have set your goal and thought of your audience, it is now time to add groups of information. You will need to add groups of information that support your goal. On this worksheet, we have the groups sections of your child, your family, needs and solutions, and next steps. In each of these groups, there is a list of ideas or prompts to guide the content of your main messages. Remember, not all of these groups or ideas will be useful for making your goal happen. Only pick the groups and ideas that matter most for your goal. Let's walk through an example of how to use this part of the worksheet. If your goal is to inform an IEP, the next step is to think about which groups of information will support you to reach your goal. You might decide it is important to add information about needs and solutions. Ideas in this group are level of support or assistance, calming strategies, safety strategies, changes to the physical environment, communication strategies, and medical needs or precautions. From this list, you can pick which ideas are the most important and relevant to you and your child. Then, you would write a main message about the specific need or solution that helps your child succeed. The final step is to edit your work. Read over your main messages to make sure you have included action-oriented statements. Remember, it is important to tell the audience what to do to help you reach your goal. Delete any information that repeats. This will make your infographic easier to read. Don't forget to recheck your goal. Delete information that does not support your goal, and add anything that might be missing. Now it's time to get started in writing your own main messages. You have completed Module 2 of this learning series, where we defined what main messages are, explained the steps to writing main messages, and showed you how to use a worksheet to create your own main messages. There are 2 other modules in this series. Module 1, a video on understanding infographics, and Module 3, which focuses on visually designing your infographic, which is a PDF. Thank you. This learning series has been created by the Evidence to Care team, Holland Bloorview's Knowledge Translation Hub, the Client and Family Integrated Care team, and a family leader.